Invincible is the greatest superhero comic book in the universe, so much so that they were legally and morally forced to put it in the title. But for some reason, Invincible's dad is also regarded as the worst superhero in the universe. Well, why is that? There are some moments in Season 1 where the audience might have felt quite uncomfortable with Omni-Man's actions, but that's only because they don't understand the character as well as I do. I'm here to dissect this character and show you that Omni-Man did nothing wrong. To understand who Omni-Man is, first we must understand why Omni-Man does what he does. You see, the first episode dives into who Omni-Man wants to be and who he actually is. In the first half of episode 1, it is widely believed to show Omni-Man as a beloved father figure, role model, and that not all heroes wear capes. And the moment he lashes out on the Super Friends is his turn to the dark side. While this scene was visceral and brutal, you can't deny that it wasn't relatable. You see, Omni-Man does what we all wish we could do onto our own co-workers. This is why this scene is what captures our full attention for the rest of the show. After this moment, we were all living vicariously through him. The people criticizing his actions are clearly just jealous haters. They are stuck in their 9-to-5 jobs and can't feel any sympathy for those who try to break free of the system. You see, this scene is a metaphor for giving in your 2-week resignation, and the rest of the show delves into the mind of a man who's about to become unemployed. Most people are not able to relate to Omni-Man because they believe that he is evil and they believe they are not, which is simply untrue. They can't relate to him because he's simply a Sigma male. But what truly makes a man Sigma? I believe it was Kermit the Frog that described it best.
So even the most, what would you say, ignored and alienated, marginalized, let's say, to use a word that's been overused, have something of real value to bring into the world. And this is the case. You're a particularized creature as a son of God or a daughter of God, let's say. You have something to bring into the world that no one else can bring in. And so if you fail in that duty, then you deprive the world of that. And maybe you shouldn't do that.
Omni-Man understands that his duty must be fulfilled by him even if no one else can understand him. Hardworking, determined, always hustling. These are traits the average human does not have. Most people would rather watch a show about a man committing murders than committing murders themselves. Thus, leading to this ludonarrative dissonance where they can see why he is doing the things he does, but they cannot be him, which is a problem. Meaning the audience can reverse engineer and know why Omni-Man does his actions, but they are incapable of moving forward in life like him. But I don't feel bad for these people, and neither should you. These people that are getting in the way of Omni-Man's father-son time are city folk, meaning that they are most likely professional victims. It is in them to find something to complain about. I'm sure they were morally outraged before this moment, and they'll be sure to nitpick about the tragedy that befell them that day. You see, the problem here is that Sigmas work in the shadows, hustling to make their dreams a reality. He could have a big S on his chest, but then his inspiration would be too obvious, and no one would actively try to learn from his deeds on their own, like Sigmas often do. So he placed an O there instead for anonymous, allowing others to come to their own conclusions. Omni-Man never fell into a villain arc because he's simply not a villain. Doing a few bad things does not mean you're a bad person. Just like cheating once does not mean you're a cheater, just that you cheated. Or like giving one haircut does not make you a barber. If he was a real villain, he would give his villain speech to show the audience he is falling to the dark side, similar to some of the greatest villain speeches of all time, such as Breaking Bad's "I am the one who knocks," right, or Darth Vader's "No." And my personal favorite villain monologue, the first sentence uttered on the H3 podcast.
Welcome everybody to the first episode of the H3 podcast. We're so happy to have you here, and we're so excited to bring this show to you guys. Today,
Here, Ethan is ripping up the second H3 from their branding to let the audience know that it is no longer time to laugh and that they're about to enter the third layer of hell, which, ironically enough, was gluttony. Omniman's life is a tragic tale. He is an illegal alien immigrant stuck on a land he knows nothing about, forced to work a job that his previous education did not train him for, and then falls in love with a species that he is meant to enslave. His tale is a metaphor for the immigrant experience, working day in, day out at a job you did not ask for, all the while trying to keep it together for 16 years. Any man would be radicalized running this metaphorical convenience store. The sleight of hand this show goes to attempt to fool you is masterful through its art direction and score. The music is calculated to only play when the supposed heroes are on screen to make them feel relatable. Didn't you wonder why they didn't play any generic, overly corny pop songs when Omniman was the focus? It's because they don't want you to relate to him any more than you already do. If they did give him his own leitmotif, there's only one that could work. There's no better way to know if you should idolize a man and not question any of their actions is if someone makes a TikTok with what Pinely best describes as dick-sucking music.
I was worried before because I've never seen your father so badly hurt. But taking on aliens in another dimension? That's just Tuesday. I'm sure he's explaining nicely why they should leave us alone.
You don't seem to understand. Earth isn't yours to conquer.
Once you hear this song, you know it's time to get sloppy. They purposefully did not play this song to not confuse the audience. However, once you hear this track over his monologue, the difference couldn't be more apparent. Omniman is so cool and worthy of praise that whenever he's on screen with his costume on, the quality of the art and animation suffers. You'll notice the overusage of 3D rendered backgrounds, explosions, characters, and vehicles are specifically there when he is around. The art style effectively showing the audience that he is on a higher quality than everyone and everything around him. He is absorbing the artist's time, attention, and budget to put in more effort into his animation alone, as if he is visually stating, "I am better than you." Omniman's presence was so massive that as soon as he returned in Season 2, the entirety of the crew needed to take a multi-week break, even though all the work for the season had been completed. Even Omniman's suit is a clear homage to his split ideals. Using my advanced knowledge of color theory, I can deduce that the usage of red and blue in his design is to illuminate his fragmented mind. The red and blue is to signify his indecision to take either the red or the blue pill, unable to decide if the time he spent on Earth was enjoyable and worthwhile, or if he must follow his orders to the bitter end. That is the artistic reason why Omniman becomes covered in blood whenever he goes full Moses on his enemies and spills open their Red Sea. As their red blood covers his body, it symbolizes he's being taken over by the red pill. I believe that is why he attached a 0 to his chest as a constant reminder that he is a staunch believer of Zero Lives Matter. Truly, when I think about it, the real villain here is not Omniman, but actually capitalism. Let me explain. Omniman is forced to choose to spend time on his job or spend time with his family. Mark does not understand that allowing his father to do his job will let him have his father stay on Earth longer. As he monologues, he brings up that the Empire can provide the human race with tools and technology to help uplift this backwater planet. Omniman here is clearly subquoting former president and current war criminal George W. Bush, where they believe creating a new Starbucks or two will justify the destruction they will bring. Capitalism is truly the root of all evil. And to make sure I never go down Omniman's path, I would like to thank the sponsor of this video, WMD, Work, Money, Discipline. Through the power of WMDs, I become... Thank you again to WMDs for changing my life and sponsoring this video. Now, back to the analysis. Relationship is the word I would use to describe the bond between Omniman and his family, as he is related to them through a familial bond and is attempting to ship his beliefs indirectly to them. Examining his relationship with his wife, Debbie, it's sad that no one truly understands them, except for me. While some may criticize that he only sees her as a pet, what they fail to realize is that it is the highest of compliments. This so-called pet of his is well-fed, has a beautiful home in the suburbs, and gets non-stop action. In fact, she even has a mixed mutt of her own. Now, for those of you at home, would you dedicate this much time, effort, and loving into your pet? I don't think so. What a pet is to Omniman is not the same as what a pet is to the everyman. You are not the same. All the ladies complaining that Omniman sees Debbie as a pet are just jealous no one puts a dog collar on them. Omniman do not even need to domesticate her to any degree. This relationship is clearly juxtaposed against Mark's relationship with his greatest rival, Amber. While Nolan was able to sniff out a queen bee who was capable and has her own agency, Mark's half-breededness hasn't allowed his superpowers of observation to fully kick in yet, thus leading him to settle with a nag. In short, Omniman copped the bag and Invincible was left with the nag. In Adam McKee's book, Story, he states, "True character is revealed in the choices a human being makes under pressure. The greater the pressure, the deeper the revelation, the truer the choice to the character's essential nature." The beauty of this quote is that it's taken directly from a book, meaning 99% of my audience won't ever know if this quote is real or not. So as I write this essay with one leg crossed over the other at my local cafe shop, I begin to extrude a strong sense of superiority over my barista, which then leads me to an epiphany about Omniman. Him being a superhero actually made him feel like a barista, when truthfully, he felt more comfortable looking down at those people. In essence, we all have a little bit of Omniman in ourselves. By that fact, we shouldn't be surprised that Omniman was keeping all this information away from his family. Notice the moment he opened up about his true feelings, Debbie started to cry, meaning that she sees him as a lesser man for revealing his true emotions. There's been a lot of false allegations of misogyny thrown towards Omniman, but why is that? It's already pretty normal for men to cry. Men are capable of crying, but we only do it in abnormal situations. Say there's a tragedy, a death, their home burns down. But to say that you want to see them cry all the time, well, that's not normal. It's normal for women to cry and break down at the slightest inconveniences, as they have the world. But it's not normal for men, because men have to they have to stand up. They have to stand up and use their superior strength to protect women in society. So women have to rely on that strength, and one way they do that is by crying, because they look cute and they look like they need help. They look weak, and so it inspires men to step up and protect them. I'm pretty sure throughout time, especially patriarchal times, more so than now, men cared so much about women that they sacrificed their entire lives to raise a family of 10 to 13 people and provide for their wives. But today, men don't really care enough to hold open the door for women, because women have told men that they're strong enough to open really heavy doors and open a lot of jars. But the reality is that they're not. They just need men to make them need to care about women to open those jars, of course. Now, I show emotion sometimes. Someone even say, I have an emotion right now. Some would say, Omniman being a woman hater is an emotion. First of all, Omniman is not a woman hater. But if he was showing the emotions associated with hate, then that is exactly what he was doing. So he's being vulnerable enough to expose himself and actually shares these repulsive emotions with people. But I guess that's not what they really want. The types of emotions they want are soft, more feminine emotions. I think they do it because they want to feel better about themselves and their natural insecurities and inferiorities towards men, namely that men are stronger than women and can withstand more pressure in tough situations. Don't get me wrong, women can certainly fight through adversity, but men are expected to. We are expected to get through these things, and we can't do that if we're always getting really emotional. You know, we have to stay calm in a war in order to survive. I hope that I've systematically proven that Omniman was not sexist. Sure, maybe a little racist towards humans, but he saw everyone as equally inferior to him and his people. So I think much of the hate by the cancel culture crowd has been overblown. Who here can really say they wouldn't do exactly what Omniman did? As Omniman might have been many things, a liar, but he was also a lover. So to me, that just sounds like any man in his mid-millennial life crisis. And so, who am I to judge him? Please, if you have a better way to conquer the planet, I would love to know how you would do it in the comments below. I just want to give a moment to thank my patrons. Without your support, I cannot make videos like these. Thank you. And as many of you know, just like Invincible in Season 2, I grew up fatherless. So thank you for keeping me fed.